a 32-year-old man who was 30, but anyway, he pretended to be a teenager in order to return to high school, and no one noticed. And he's now the subject of a new documentary with some crazy twists and turns.
So this is out of the bizarro world. Who in their right mind, and I emphasize right mind, wants to go back to high school? You?
I mean,
oh my goodness.
I was that kid. I'm a nerd. Go on, sorry.
All right.
But I won't.
Okay, how about this? When you're 30 years old?
Technically, I was in school, but I was student teaching at the time. I wasn't a student. Okay, continue.
All right,
sorry.
Well, this guy, he posed as a teenager to rejoin his old school for 2 years. He got away with it. Nobody recognized him. His name is Brian McKinnon. He re-enrolled at his alma mater, which is Beardson Academy in Glasgow, giving him a new identity of a Canadian student. That's what he did for himself. I guess he went by Brandon Lee, and he put on a fake accent to make his background as a Canadian more plausible. So let's just check out a little bit of this clip from a trailer of the documentary.
Tell us what you know of Brandon Lee. Brandon Lee. Brandon Lee. Brandon Lee.
Can we just begin with your name?
You would have known me as Brandon Lee. I remember my first day at Beardson Academy.
It was junior year, day one. The classroom door opened, and there he was.
He was quite gaunt looking, and he was really pale.
He had a briefcase.
Funny hair, glasses.
He was one of the better pupils.
Just an all-round nice guy.
One of the pleasures of teaching lies in watching young people grow up. Brandon Lee acts as if he's been a pupil at Beardson Academy from the very beginning.
Hiding in plain sight. It's about the best place you can hide.
Police found that Lee had 2 passports.
People thought he might be a spy.
And that was when he said,
"My name isn't Brandon Lee, and I'm not who you think I am."
What? They're human beings, but to me they were just a means to an end. There was no crime committed, technically.
Was it morally acceptable?
It's a story which is seemingly never ending.
He was playing absolutely everybody around him.
Why? Why did he do it?
what would possess someone to do that? It was an obsession.
If you really want to prevail, you have to do the unimaginable.
So
Wow.
this is like insane. So basically what happened is, okay, again, Brian McKinnon was 30 years old at the time he decided to go back to his alma mater in the early 90s, 1993, okay? And he then graduated, you know, when he was 32, he was there for 2 years, and now, like, it became uncovered of what he did, and so now, currently, like, there you see the actual scandal once they found out, you know, old boy scandal. But now they made this documentary, and because you could hear in there how he didn't want to be interviewed as part of it, you get a professional actor, Alan Cumming. I like Alan Cumming anyway, to do the voice of this. But I mean, from a just like purely fascinating standpoint, like that's crazy to think about it. But when you turn it on its head, wait a minute, a grown man is amongst your teenagers,
right.
your children.
Twice the age of some of these students.
No one knew based on watch the documentary, I guess. It'll tell you exactly how he did it. But from our standpoint of what we've learned so far, basically, they didn't really check into his full story. Like he made up his whole story.
Well,
and
they didn't ask for a birth certificate.
Yeah, they're just like, okay, come on back. Like they didn't, and at the time, I guess there was only one teacher who still was there from when he originally graduated, and that person didn't remember him or didn't recognize him or whatever. But the other point to point out is the fact that he was like right there out in the open for everyone to see. He joined the, acting. He did acting.
I guess that's a picture of him doing in some theater.
But the one positive, I guess, is that he was supposed to kiss like a 16-year-old girl as one of the scenes.
Which
and he
was half his age.
Half his age. Luckily, supposedly he didn't, which thank goodness. But this just baffling. And this whole documentary came about because it's actually a former classmate of his who is saying that, like, from when he was old, when he was old versus when he was young, I guess. And the guy who made the documentary, he said that, well, Brian, I guess, I don't know which name to go by, but Brian was kind of a geek, but then he quickly rose up the social ladder and all this. But then Brian/Brandon, whatever, is saying that he doesn't even remember the guy who made the documentary. Like, I don't remember him being, like, it's a whole drama of it, because the simple fact that he doesn't want to be involved maybe shows even more so how mentally potentially unstable he may be.
Well, yeah, and this is also a story of someone with too much time on their hands, isn't it?
Or something.
He's mentally unstable. I mean, I understand maybe 5 years out of high school. No, not even 10, maybe 5 years. I mean, I could go back and correct some of the dumb things I did. But who would want us to waste the time? This guy did it, and he got away with it for 2 years. He looked older than the other students, and he was taller than most of them. But despite this, his grown-up preference for carrying a briefcase, as they explained in that trailer, rather than a rucksack like his classmates, nobody twigged. He was almost twice their age. So, Katie, what's a rucksack, and why didn't anybody twig?
Well, a rucksack's simply like a backpack. Yeah, you're right. But what was fascinating, he almost slipped up at one point in the article, and again, you'll learn more if you watch the documentary, I'm guessing. He slipped up once and said, well, I remember when Elvis died, 1977, which is when he should have been born, according to the new thing, and he was like, I've heard. Like, he had to slip up on that. So, quite fascinating. I personally recommend watch the documentary. I know I'm going to.